Alrighty then, Ben. So 3D printing, having a look at the avatars of war. Can't get enough of Felix and his dwarves.
Exactly. I had to go hunting for more. So yes, we have talked about Avatars of War as an indie of the week before, where we looked at a lot of their resonant metal miniatures that can be used for the Ninth Age and a whole bunch of other different fantasy games. But over the last year or so, Avatars of War and Felix have also moved into the realm of 3D printing and Patreon as well. So I thought I'd guide us through their My Mini Factory page, which has been sort of growing and blossoming over the last little while.
This is a very hairy barbarian-centric
episode, really is.
Isn't it?
I think big barbarian butts is the way to go this week.
It really has been. We're just missing Boris. We have said him in. Good for that.
Really nice, like Conan-esque figure in the top left of that one.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, lots of those around. But yeah. So this is their offerings for the month of February, which is obviously all this barbarian forces and that kind of thing. I think this is a nice route for them to have gone down, because Avatars of War tended to have a very, let's say, relaxed release schedule about things. Yeah. So it was a couple of things every so often, whereas this means that whatever Felix has ended up sculpting, or anyone on the team has ended up sculpting, will eventually just get out there in the world, thanks to the fact that people can just download the STL files and have at it effectively. But yeah, all of these are pretty much sort of done to be used in your skirmish games and that kind of thing. But a lot of this is very much based on the idea of being used in things like their arena deathmatch game, which is pretty cool. But also for, as I said before, the Ninth Age, because Avatars of War tend to work alongside the people that created that project in order to create interesting and diverse options for you to use in those games, in sort of echoing what people lost with Warhammer Fantasy Battles and that kind of thing too. There's no reason why you couldn't use these for other games, of course, as well. These were some of the first ones they did, actually, which are the Rune Smith statues.
They started with terrain pieces, big.
I remember this.
Expletive there, but yes, big terrain pieces.
Yeah, which would be fantastic for putting outside the front of large dwarven holds, or just the thing that I quite like about pieces like this is that you could have a rolling hillside country theme for your tabletop. You stick a couple of these down covered in vines. Suddenly it's the sort of frontier of a dwarven kingdom that you're now stepping into, and you get that theme and narrative immediately built into the collection, which I think is really nice. But yeah, it's not just dwarves. They have been doing some other stuff. One of the nice things, one of the nice things they did over the last, I think it was the last 6 months or so, they started to do a lot of their sort of orcs and goblins and beast figures. So they've really gone down the route of doing some interesting and diverse looking warlords and stuff for you to use in your armies. They've got things like this spellcaster as well. So if you wanted to make something that fits into a particular school of magic that you wanted for the Ninth Age, you've got that option there as well, which is quite nice. Use him at the head of a Marienburg army, perhaps. Marienburg harbours
like he's slime surfing.
Water. It does. Or do him as a slime surfer. There we go.
If you can print that in two parts, if somebody does not put a surfboard underneath, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
Definitely needs to happen now. Yeah, but all their stuff is, has the same amount of detail that you would have imagined from a lot of the stuff from Avatars of War. Just obviously, it's then done. It's been designed for 3D printing rather than for the traditional metal casting or anything like that they used to do. So they've gone in some interesting routes with a lot of these. I particularly like a lot of their Beastmen and stuff, because one of the things that's always grated on me is the fact that the Games Workshop Minotaurs look awful.
They are terrible.
They are categorically some of the worst things they've ever made.
If you were to get a bag full of watermelons and put it in a corner and lean a stick against it, it would have a more realistic musculature than the GW Minotaurs.
Yes, and Jerry's not exaggerating.
No. It's like somebody had heard of muscles but had never seen them, had never looked in the mirror or even looked down at their own body, and just put bumps over bumps over bumps. That must be how muscles work.
How old is the sculpt?
It's
multi-part plastic. Yeah. So it's not like they can go, we made this a long time ago. Also, prior to that, they had gorgeous Trish Cardine sculpted metals, which I have a ton of, which means people there knew how to sculpt Minotaurs and somebody chose not to. However, rather than get me off on a tangent.
I've just seen the spike in between the legs. Did you see that? That's fantastic. Running full pelt. Yeah, on all of them. Yeah. Run full pelt, get anything smaller if you got.
I mean, if you want to body check someone, you can stab them at the same
time. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's also a handy place to store a snack.
Oh, yeah.
Your groin snack.
On the run.
Unscrew it, yeah.
He's nice because they made him as a physical model years ago, standing on foot. But now you can have a mounted version if you want your orc warlord.
The creatures are beautiful.
They are.
I really love them.
I think it's one of the things that I think Felix and the team do really well is these sort of like
beards.
No,
he's killed Ben.
I love their sort of larger than life creatures. I think they do a really good job on these, and because they then don't have to worry about the process of then getting that cast.
Yeah.
They can be like, look how amazing this is. Now you deal with the printing.
Undead big ogre.
Yeah. Who couldn't want one of those in their army if you wanted to theme it around the idea of Nurgle? I think that's a really cool idea. Have that at the head of an army of pestigores and away you go, basically. So
get some squirrels, make it saw.
Yes, that too.
But they'd be more likely to be corneate if they were squirrels. That's interesting. The fact that they're doing multi-part units.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You could build your skeleton army then.
Yeah, they would build those in 3D rather than printing them.
Yeah. So one of the neat things about this is they've done the Beastman skeletons you see there. They've also done orc skeletons in the past.
Nice.
So if you wanted to make a cursed company regiment or something from the old sort of mercenaries Dogs of War thing, Richter Kruger, then you could definitely do that and have because one of the whole things with that was that when you hit people with the sword, they'd turn into undead followers for his army. So you could have these for all the beastmen and stuff that he's killed and things would be really awesome. So
that modular is really nice because it means you can do so many different things with it to just keep everybody looking pretty individual. I like it.
Yeah. But it's definitely a range that very similar to, and again, that's an update on one of their older skulls they've done as well, actually. Carrying a dwarven axe with the filth.
How dare you?
In a quiet.
Very, very Grom the Paunch. So, which is pretty cool.
That's why I bought mine. This is Grom. Yeah. Although Grom came in a chariot, so you'd need this as well.
That is true.
I do like this.
That's amazing, yeah. Well, those almost like rakish wolves.
Yeah.
They are quite
goblins are very small, so, a little bit of height helps them.
I love how that doesn't look still, if that makes sense. Yeah. It looks like it's moving with them running. Yeah, it's not stuck.
Yeah. Always an issue when it comes to sort of like cavalry-based things or anything like that is that it sometimes looks like they're just like on parade or cantering around. Yeah. Whereas with these, you've obviously got, as you say, that sense of motion, which is nice. So,
I mean, the one thing I might do to that is you see the crow's nest, just heat up the actual peg up for it and just bend it back a little bit so as if it's gone forward and he's just like whipping back.
And then when it stops, he gets flung forward.
Catapult, that's how it works.
That does. That sounds like something that will be built by goblins.
An ad hoc doom diver. But yeah, it's a really awesome little range. If you've really liked what Felix has done for the range in the past, because as we said during the Indie of the Week for this, they've been around for a really long time. Then suddenly this now opens up the options for you to almost fill in the gaps with the troops, because one of the big things they did back in the day was they effectively just made heroes. Yeah, they did do dwarves, so they had dwarven rangers and
dwarves. They also did chaos warriors
and chaos warriors.
First time I ever saw these guys was their dwarf regiment. Yeah, whenever workshop, we're still doing the ones without knees.
Yeah,
and they was just like, holy crap, they have knees! It's so good.
Their slayers are the slayers of my dwarven army. So
I think that's the exact set.
Yeah,
that was the hard plastics.
Yeah,
they were really good, really nice.
Quite a few pages, isn't there?
Oh yeah. So this goes back to some of the early stuff. So that's some of the undead orcs and things they've done, which is really nice. You've also got some more like the orc shamans and warlords and everything as well. I think Felix really likes orcs and dwarves, so it's nice to see more of that coming to the fore.
The throner and the irony that he's sitting on a throne of someone else.
What is best in life?
I mean, I love those. They're just so cool. And it's nice that they've done an interesting job with the proportions of them as well. Like they've given them like the big bows that you can imagine. They're not just humans with
orc head,
heads, which tends to sometimes be the case, unfortunately. But
they've actually thought, what would the bone structure be?
More Neanderthal-like, bigger rib cages.
I've been looking at all of the different skeletal ones, and each individual miniature has got cuts in the bones in all different places. It's crazy the more you look at them, just where they are in such detail on a small.
When they die, their bodies at them.
Yeah,
that's why they're stripped clean.
But yeah, it's a really stunning collection from Felix that is grown, as I say, from like last month. I mean, as you see, these are the first ones. They were only 8 months ago, so they did a couple through like their web store, and then they immediately moved over to My Mini Factory and Patreon and started doing it that way. So you've got the month.
Jugork Nort.
I know. I approve of the word play in that one.
Finny Jones.
No. Please don't.
Yeah, it's amazing range that is coming along quite nicely. Do they have it broke down into kind of collections? Do they? What have we got?
Yeah, they've broken them down into the different sections. So you've got the demons, the beastmen, the orcs and goblins, a few humans and everything there as well, just to sort of round out the range and stuff as well. So some nice bits and pieces in there for everyone to sort of dive into and have fun with. And it's one of these things where they've obviously got the baseline for all of this stuff already because of all the different characters that they made.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to go in and expand the range, there's no end to the amount of options they could play with and have fun with. I've really liked some of the ogres and things they've done as well, which is really nice. But
yeah, the ogres are lovely.
As I say, the Patreon is available, so you can dive in and you can pay a certain amount a month to get your hands on the collections. As we saw, the most recent collection was those sort of barbarians, a kind of Dark Sun-esque, Conan-esque collection. But they've also got some amazing stuff as well. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dark God, Manticore.
Yeah.
Their Dark God, their Not Chaos Warrior range was stunning.
Yeah.
I imagine at some point,
stuff.
I imagine at some point it will come back.
I would
because
imagine
they released them in resin, not PVC or anything, actual resin. And they did a corneate version and a Nurgle-esque set with a variety of weapons, halberds, hand weapons, additional hand weapons, shields, great weapons, and they are stunning. I bought multiples of each. I've got the biggest collection of these you will never see, and you can't get them for love nor money. And the sculpts were stunning. They were really nice. I particularly like the pestilence-esque, I suppose, musician who just grabbed his jaw and pulled it down to his belly like a python, just detachable jaw, screaming. So they haven't been available as physical models in a long time. I'm not sure how they were sculpted, but if there was a way to resurrect them via the medium of this, then that would definitely be the way to go.
Yeah, I think most of their stuff started coming out whenever CAD first became a thing that people began to use a lot more in the industry.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Those files might be there somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because they've done reprints of the dwarves every so often.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they're doing something physical or whether they just go down the line of doing something fully digital, I guess. But
I really appreciate the armor that they've put on all their creatures.
Yeah.
They've really thought about that.
Yeah. They don't want them to be hurt.
No, I know, but some people just seem to have the animals, don't they? Let them get crushed. You watch a film and all of a sudden the horses go down first and then I end up crying.
It's a really nice pack, though.
It's very nice.
Just thinking about my Northern Alliance.
There you go.
It requires things.
Of a shopping basket.
Well, no, there's no point putting them in the shopping basket. They're not real. They're all ones and zeros.
If I had a resin printer for you, Jerry, I'd print some.
It's all right.
I will say. I will say that if you are interested in the Arena Deathmatch game, we may have mentioned it back when we did the end of the week, but
I think we did. Yeah.
The Arena Deathmatch game actually has a digital version of it that you can play. So you can, if you just want to have fun with the game itself, you can go and check that out and everything as well. So some really cool stuff there from Avatars of War. Keep an eye out every month for new stuff. And I'm sure they'll do something excellent from their back catalogue very, very soon. So,
Indeed.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.